This is your video announcement for the week where we're doing Chapter 3, Designing a Newsletter. Be sure that you always read over the module page that gives you an overview, the objectives, what your learning activities are, which also includes a PowerPoint. You should work through the tutorials within the chapter. It will definitely make things go faster for you when you get to the assessment activities. Your assessment activities are discussion, which you should discuss by Thursday at 11:55 p.m. and then respond to another learner by Sunday at 11:55. Use your textbook and at least one other resource. So your textbook should not be your only resource. Here's what you're discussing, and of course always look at the rubric before you begin the assignment. Your assignments this week that should be done after you've completed the tutorial within the chapter are the Apply, Extend, and Lab 1. And then you'll take a quiz. This is going to be the end of Unit 1, so the next week will be your first project. Let's flip over to the textbook. Here's a copy of the e-textbook, and I believe this is on about page 105 that starts with designing a newsletter. So you should be working through all of the tutorials. Be sure you read all the information there. Some of that you'll be able to use in your discussion. You'll see some good examples of layouts and how it should look, a newsletter should look. Again, more information on newsletters, benefits of them, and other information about them. Some design choices, which is always very important to consider your audience, and some terminology there that you're going to need to know. And then if you keep looking on those pages, you'll see that there are lots of built-in templates which you'll be using for many of your newsletters. So it makes it a little bit easier because they've already made some of those design choices for you. You just have to determine what type of newsletter for your audience you need to use. And then we get to where tutorials start. So anything in a red circle is something that you should go through. It's best to actually work through it, but at least read through it so you've seen how to do it and refer back to it as you're doing your assignments for this chapter. So at the end of the chapter on page 152, you'll see Apply Your Knowledge. That gives you the instructions on what you're supposed to be doing for this newsletter. Be sure you follow each instruction carefully. It gives you an example of what it's going to look like when you're finished and the step-by-step instructions that you should follow. So in this one, as I said, you will be using a template in the built-in section of Publisher. Be sure to upload anything it asks you to save. And of course, number 15, you do not have to do. You should read it and think about it, but you do not have to answer that question. Then extend, page 1 of a newsletter from scratch. This time you won't be using a template, and it shows you what it should look like when you're finished. There are your instructions. Continues on to page 156, and again, number 20, you do not need to answer that question. You should think about it because you may see it in one of your quizzes, but you do not need to answer the question. You skip Expand and move on to Lab 1. And in the labs, the first thing you're going to do is create a Symphony newsletter. There's an example of what it will look like, and the instructions on page 158. And that ends the assignments for this chapter. Then the next thing you would do is take the quiz at the end of the week. Let me know if you have any questions and have a great week. End of video.